The winter rite of passage of every seasoned gardener is the early indoor planting of the seeds for our favorite summer crops. Some of us get more excited about this endeavor than others. Either way, we start these seeds early indoors so that we can hit the ground running when the weather warms up to maximize the length of our summer growing season. Some crops require a much longer growing season than we're able to give them, especially in temperate regions like where I live. Starting our own seeds early is a proactive, fun, and rewarding way to kick off the growing season each year. It's not at all hard, but there's a few things we're gonna need. So to make sure that our gardens are ready for 2021, let's look at all the things that you need to start your seeds early indoors. And it starts right now. Here in Canada, we have a warm growing season of roughly 20 weeks. Perfect for things like carrots, beets, greens,
peas, beans, cauliflower, broccoli, kale, and many others.
But it just isn't enough time for crops like tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers to be sown directly into our spring gardens. By starting those seeds early indoors, we can ensure that those crops have enough growing time to flower, fruit, and produce. Okay, enough of the why. Let's look at everything that we're gonna need to start our seeds indoors successfully this winter. I'll break this video up into 4 sections for easy reference. We'll start with the containers, followed by our soil. Next will be heat and light, and finally, your seeds. As you can see by this list, the setup is gonna be pretty basic. There's no need to make this overly complicated, and there's no need to spend hundreds of dollars on expensive equipment. Before we can plant anything, we need to figure out what we're gonna grow in. Containers and container size has this trickle-down effect on the other aspects of planting seeds, so it makes sense to nail that down first. You can start and grow seeds in virtually anything as long as it holds soil and drains water. But by far the best choice to get your seeds started is professional seedling trays. These plastic inserts are inexpensive, durable, and designed for making hundreds of new seedlings a piece of cake. There's a reason that professional growers use these trays and inserts. They come in a few different shapes and sizes, but I recommend either the 72 or 98 cell insert trays in the 10-20 dimension in the thickest milled plastic that you can find. Once you have your seedling trays picked out, you're gonna wanna get the accompanying holding tray to catch the water. Without it, watering these guys is impossible. One other item that's totally optional but highly recommended is the mesh tray holders. Once a seedling tray is filled up with moist soil and plants, they're actually quite heavy. It's then that you run the risk of the trays buckling under the weight when you're trying to move them. The strong mesh tray holders totally prevent this. It's what they're designed for. Furthermore, as we move the seedling plugs on to larger pots, the trays actually get reused, but those pots are much heavier than the plugs. And it's at that point that those mesh bottoms are actually mandatory anyway. Also optional, but highly recommended. Trust me, I'm not trying to drive up the costs here, but the plastic dome covers for the 10-20 trays are really handy. These clear covers allow us to see the developing seedlings inside while providing a moist, stable, almost greenhouse-like environment to maximize the success. Trust me, those dome covers are worth it. Next up, we have soil. The growing medium you choose can often have the biggest impact on how successful your seed starting is. Don't pull soil from your garden or reuse old potting mixes. You gotta start fresh with either a store-bought mixture that's designed for seeds or make your own. The mixture should be light, airy, free of large debris, and pH neutral. A sifted mixture of 50% compost and 50% wetted coconut fiber works great. Seeding mixes are really just basic potting mixes, without all the amendments, without all the fertilizers, and with the larger particles sifted out. Seeds contain all they need to grow for the first little bit of their life, so a heavily fortified, fertilized soil mixture is completely unnecessary. And we sift out that larger debris commonly found in coarser potting mixes so that we don't inadvertently crush or suffocate the newly sprouting seeds. Heat and light play an immensely important role in successfully starting your seeds indoors. Moisture and heat give our seeds the clues that it's safe to sprout and begin the quest to planthood. And we know that light is necessary for all plants to thrive and grow. Most of our vegetable crop seeds, especially these warm weather ones, prefer to germinate within a temperature range of 80 degrees Fahrenheit to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Indoors, this should be relatively easy to achieve with either supplemental heat or light, or both. Low wattage heat taper pads work amazingly well in giving a nice, evenly distributed heat for the developing seeds, while lights can also be used to heat up our trays and soils. And when speaking of lights, growing indoors is now presented with its first actual challenge. All plants need light to grow, and in the absence of the sun, we have to supply them with not only enough light, but also the right kind of light. This is also where you can incur your biggest costs when trying to grow indoors, depending on what you already have and depending on what your goals are. LED lighting is the preferred artificial light source if you don't have access to direct sunlight. And while it has come down in price in recent years, it'll still likely be your most significant investment. Conventional bulbs can also work in a pinch. Just make sure to use bulbs that are designated daylight or have a color temperature of 5000 K or higher. The reason that indoor lighting is so important is the effect that the lack of it has on our plants. When the light is not intense enough or it's at the wrong end of the spectrum, our seedlings will often grow long and leggy as they search for more light. This is the plant telling you that its light requirements are not being met. The final item on our list is the seeds themselves. Don't overlook this part. Really give some thought as to what can be directly sown into your spring garden versus what crops simply have to be started early indoors. No matter how much space you think you have, you'll run out and you'll want to make sure that all the seeds that have to be started early are started early. Purchase your seeds from a trusted source, or better yet, save your own seeds from previous crops as you get a few seasons under your belt. If you're planning a vegetable garden this summer and you're anxious to get started, you're in luck. The recipe for a successful garden actually starts in the winter. So get those seeds planted and let me know about it in the comments down below. Also, if any of you are on Facebook, head on over and join our gardening group called Growing Better. The group has grown phenomenally fast, yet it will never lose its sense of community or its welcoming feel. If you're passionate about growing epic organic fruits, herbs, and veggies for you and your family, the Growing Better group is a great place to hang out, share, learn, and grow. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you're getting value in this and the other series that I'm doing on YouTube, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons if you'd be so kind, and I'll see you in the next video.